My name is Russell Palmer. I'm a member of the Kappa Institute, and thank you for joining us for this webinar. This webinar is brought to you by Alchemy, a community wealth building initiative by the Kappa Institute. And one of the focuses of Alchemy is to support entrepreneurs. And in light of this pandemic, we wanted to get the experience and stories from entrepreneurs on the ground and learn about how they've been adjusting in this new environment we find ourselves in. And currently on the panels, we have Charlie Red, Becky Hostetter, Jerry Thompson, and Akaya Muhammad. We also have potentially Rachel McIntosh from LISC to give us perspectives from the funder side, and Pam Ross from CICF. I'd also like to thank CGA, Climate Control, the Climate Control is Climate Justice Alliance for providing us this webinar platform to help bring this to you today. So I'll pass it to Gita to tell us who that is. You there, Gita?
Yeah, can you mute yourself?
Yeah.
So hi, y'all. My name is Agila Nataraj. I work with the Kepler Institute. As Russell said, we were able to bring this webinar through YouTube from Zoom, thanks to Climate Justice Alliance, which we're a member of. And it is a growing member alliance of 70 urban and rural frontline communities, organizations, and supporting networks in the climate justice movement. And these member organizations lead CJA by anchoring major just transition projects focused on environmental justice issues of climate change and how social, racial, and economic issues play into that. And as we're talking, they're also on a webinar, and CJA has been, and their members have been doing a really great job of also providing a model of how we can support each other through these times. And one way that they've been supporting us is allowing us to use their webinar capability. So I wanted to thank them for that. And one final piece for folks who are attending the webinar, there will be a question and answer period after the panelists have shared their stories, and we'll be taking questions. We will do our best to address them in the call, but if there are any unanswered questions, we'll be gathering them in a Google Doc and then making sure that they're answered, and we'll be publishing that. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'll be providing some back-end tech support.
Thank you, Gita. Okay, to get started, we're going to listen to our panelists here today. We're going to start with Charlie Red. Each panelist has 10 minutes to speak. And if you're finished, we may ask you some follow-up questions here and there. So we can start with Charlie Red. Charlie, can you hear me? Let me unmute you.
Myself.
Yeah, okay.
Hello.
There you go. So if you could just give your experience about in this pandemic, how has you as an entrepreneur been dealing with it, any adjustments you made, just tell us what you've been through.
Okay. I also have the questions here just in case I get off track, so I'm gonna try to focus and be pointed. So my name is Charlie Red. I'm the owner and creative director of Haven Yoga Studio, a yoga and wellness space on the corner of 42nd and Boulevard in the Butler Tarkington neighborhood. And it's been a very interesting couple of weeks. I would say I've been really paying attention to what's going on as a brick and mortar space. We are a convener of people who are breathing in close proximity together, and this is a respiratory virus. And so I've been trying to really pay attention to the progression of things to try to keep our community, the people who practice with us, our teachers, and everyone as safe as possible. And so I would say early on, what I noticed is in the yoga community here in Indianapolis, and I'm also really tapped into like the yoga studio and mindfulness community across the country specifically. There were a lot of studios that were refusing to close. The business owners decided that they were loving and lighting it away, where they just put a little bit of extra lavender in the spray bottle for the yoga mats, and we're asking people to wash their hands. And I just felt like, or I feel like, I care about each and every person that comes through our doors, and I treat everyone as if they were a loved one, because they are to me. And so I wanted to model the practices that we embody in our studio, which is taking care of the wellness of everyone who comes to spend time with us. So it's been weighing really heavily on me, because that also means the decision of closing our doors and canceling our classes, which is our main financial means to be able to support the space that we have that currently is empty. We had multiple classes a week, 2 or 3 classes almost every day, and that is slash was our main income for the studio, to be able to pay for our overhead and also pay our teachers. I'm not at the space. Our studio actually will be a month old on March 31st. Or sorry, a month. Our studio will be a year old on March 31st. So I'm really excited, but then also we're all quarantined, so we can't really have a little birthday party. But the first year, I mean, entrepreneurship in general is just really, really hard. I feel like you have to be a certain amount of crazy to be as caring and as intentional as entrepreneurs have to be to create the things that they see in their head. And so the fact that we've made it a year in our physical space means the world, but shifting to this online platform was something that I knew was necessary and something that I've wanted to do for a while. I just haven't had the capacity to do because I'm one person. So basically what we've done is shifted our whole model in all of our classes, or we're offering classes digitally, so classes online. Almost all of our teachers are teaching them as well. They came to me and said, what can we do to help? And everyone has a cell phone with a relatively okay camera. And so I've been working day and night pretty much for the past week and a half to set up platforms for us to be able to teach in a way that can connect with people and is professional enough to keep the integrity that I feel like we have at our studio. But that also means that I've had to, on a whim, shell out a couple $100s for software, different, lots of conversations with teachers about how to set things up on my end, taking care of, or trying to take care of myself, working on coding and uploading stuff, and the internet's been acting wacky and all of these other things going on at the same time, and still trying to let our community know what we're doing and what's coming has been a bit of a whirlwind. So that's been taking up most of my time. I also am extremely, extremely blessed and grateful that I have a business that is able to be taken online, regardless of if we had done it before. So with yoga, with mindfulness and meditation, those are things that have been happening online, especially in recent times. A lot of trainings and things have been going on online. A lot of people know about Googling yoga, there's YouTube videos, there's all types of things. But the thing about what we do, which is a little bit different, is we are legitimately community building as wellness. I call Haven my community love project. And so being able to connect with people, not just making a video so they can practice yoga, or even doing a live video so they can practice yoga, it's how can we check in on our folks using these tools that we know are helpful. Using these tools that in a time of stress and very high anxiety, uncertainty, and literally a virus that is attacking your lungs, like how do we encourage people to be well by the way of breath and movement and connection? And so I'm really grateful that we're able to do that. None of our members have left. We have a membership model that helps us with our regular overhead. They have rallied and sent all types of beautiful messages and shown up and sent people to us like we're not going anywhere. We have steady income. I'll pay twice if I need to. Do you need donations? Like all of these things have been coming in. I also have yet to, but I need to. I think I've been procrastinating a little bit to see if there's any support that my landlord would be willing to offer, or at least being able to kind of defer some of our rent payments, that kind of thing, to help us with making sure that we can stay afloat during this time. Because like I said, we still, as my mama say, the bills don't stop. So we have, we have rent, utilities, other like software things that we pay to make the studio go, insurance, all these things like that for our space that we are not actually using right now. So I think the essence of what I would like to relay to people is when I say grateful, earlier I was talking specifically about our business. Hello?
Charlie, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. You dropped out for a second there. Can you start off where you left off?
Yeah, that was really strange. So I was saying that I'm immensely grateful in the way that the Indianapolis community in particular has shown up for each other. Not that I thought that this wasn't possible, because I'm a firm believer that we're all better together. And regardless of if other people believe that I'm trying to work with or not, but I think that this has shown how resilient that we are and can be. And so I'm hopeful that moving forward that we can continue, once we're actually able to come out and see the light of day, that we can continue doing this, because we are so much better for it, and the city is so much better for it when we're thinking about and working in ways to help support the people who are most affected by all of these things. So that's pretty much all I had to share or wanted to share. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I'm really glad that y'all asked me to be here, and yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. Does anyone have like a follow-up, 1 or 2 follow-up questions for her? If not, we can move on to the next panelist.
How do we connect to it?
How do we connect to you if we want to like communicate or provide you support, any forms of
Oh,
connections?
yeah, sorry, I always forget about that. So we are everywhere. So we have a website. The website is havenyogaindy.com. We also are on Facebook and Instagram. I've been trying to do the Twitter, but it's a little bit more difficult for me. But all of our handles for that are at Haven Yoga Indy. And our web platform to be able to take classes with us is directly through our website. But if you find us on social media, then that's a good way to get a hold of us. If you don't do social media, we also have a newsletter. So when you go to our website, you can sign up for the newsletter, and we send out emails. I try my best not to bombard people's lives with emails. So I say once a month, I'll send out kind of a recap about what's coming up and what's happened. So that's how people can find us. Oh, and if you want to follow me in particular, my name is Charlie Red, and on Instagram, I'm the girl named Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. Okay. We can move on to Becky Hostetter. Becky, can you hear us? Let me unmute you.
Wait a second. Okay, try that again.
Okay,
Russell.
you're muted.
Yeah.
You're good.
Hey, hi.
Okay. So,
Boomer, Yeah.
So basically, there's some of the questions as I asked Charlie, and I was told you would send a list of questions, I imagine.
Yeah.
So you could just edit those questions off the list, or you can add whatever you feel is necessary.
All right.
So
yeah, I'm Becky Hostetter, and I'm chef and co-owner of Duos Indy, which is, we have 3 operations. We have a restaurant, which we have 3 locations for that, one at 30th and Meridian. We have a little place in the city market. We also operate a freestanding building by outside of Eskenazi Health Hospital. And in addition to that, we do full service catering. So we have a lot going on. And there are 3 owners, but we also have about 18 employees. So, this is, it's a ride. We kind of felt a lot of pain through the winter in our business anyway. 2 of our locations are basically outdoor. All restaurants struggled in the winter. And then we had our main client, where most of our folks come with, had a serious, let's just say their computers all went down and the whole building had to be gone most of February, which was very deep impact for our business. As the coronavirus, I could feel that something big was going to transpire, and I followed it really since it first occurred in China. And once it started moving, I knew that it was going to be a profound effect on all businesses and all of America. So we watched the hours of our staff and started sending people home a little earlier, asking everybody to bear with quieter hours. And what, of course, we eventually did, we had to close all our establishments. And we are operating with just carry out. You can place orders and the owners will deliver it. And I've noticed other friends that own businesses that are operating the same way. In fact, yesterday I ordered a puzzle from Silver in the City, and the owner came and hand delivered it. It was very sweet. So folks are doing what they can that way. But other, for us, and most anyone I know who owns a restaurant, you don't have big pockets of cash laying around. Everything is immediate. And so here we are with, we still have to have supplies because we are making food, but we have minimal income just to pay for the supplies. And our few folks that we've kept, we have about 4 people who are in the facility still working, but everyone else we had to furlough. So just the cash flow issue is dynamic. It's very dynamic. But the first thing my husband started doing is looking for funding. I think actually, Rachel, he's probably reached out to you immediately, but we looking for funding through the Small Business Administration, through Square, through American Express, through LISC. I know we're missing other, we were just keeping our hands and eyes and ears out for anything. We also sent through Square, we could reach all of our customers and sent them a newsletter about what we're doing and how we're trying to survive this time. I think that was a really helpful thing to do because people started buying gift certificates, and which has been a great way that I know a lot of folks have seen some benefits. Folks that are loyal to your business can be kind, and I'm sure at Bluebeard that's happening as well. And we also started doing a newsletter just for our staff and sending information and conveying things that we're learning on a daily basis for them, how to file for unemployment, letting them know the efforts that we're making, how to, just trying to reassure them, because we want to retain our staff. We're like everyone says this, we're like a crazy family, but it's so true. The woman that's our cashier has been our friend for 40 years, and she lives in the next block on my street. And our pastry chef, Julia, has lived in the neighborhood. Her father grew up in our neighborhood, or her ex-husband grew up in our neighborhood. I was there delivering with her when she had her second child. So there's a lot of very closely connected relationships, and everyone is vital to us. So we don't want to lose anybody. One of the other things that we've done is, the ordering. You have to also, by the way, for restaurants to be super clear about communicating to everyone, our staff and our public, about our hygiene and how we're being diligent regarding equipment and the food that they're, how clean and safe it is. That's been a really vital part of all of it, I think. Looking for money, Square has been really helpful. I don't know if you guys or other small businesses have looked at what they're offering for folks. They're really trying, but it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. I'm just trying to be positive, and I'm not crying. I'm not at all. But Charlie, I loved it that you said we're all better together, because we feel all of that so strongly, and it's that's the good thing to experience, because there's been a lot of division in our world, and it feels like everybody's making an effort to be the best that we can be. I hope that's the way it feels right now. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think about what else to say about it. There is no way that all these little folks can make it unless funding and help comes. And that's just the business level. That has nothing to do with all the people that work and are with us and are in they can't survive. We pride ourselves in trying to be a small business. We run a very small margin. Part of our Duo's mission is real food for people, for everyone. And we keep a very low price point. We try to support and work with farmers, and we try to pay our people well. So it's not as though we have an establishment that can charge $30 for an entree. We don't. Our average ticket is like $8. So, we try, and that model's been good, and we're able to retain our staff because we try to pay people well and be fair. But that means everyone's on hourly, and now they have there's no hour for them. And we're just doing our best to be in touch with everybody. We're going to stay doing the work we can safely and securely until, who knows if this is going to be a point where we'll be closed down, all of us. But we'll be prepared. I'm at heart hopeful. We've got a brand new baby living here with us who's 2 weeks old, and that kind of it's a very beautiful thing to help me stay grounded and focused. And I just have hope for everybody. I'm going to have to believe that we're all going to get to the right place and give everybody what they need to come back from all of this. And we're at home working. I'm doing cooking videos, which everybody's bugged me for years to do it, but we've posted 2, and it seems to be people are having fun with that. I'm try to not be self-conscious like right now, and be myself, but we got a couple of fun. So we're going to keep that up, and might even try to do a cooking video for kids since they're all stuck at home. And the parents are really tired of trying to think of things for them. So yeah, that's kind of the scene. I'm happy to, answer any questions you guys might have. I don't know what answers I might have, but yeah, that's our story. I'll tell you, it's a trick.
Okay. Thank you very much, Becky. Appreciate some of those stories, and yeah, good job.
Thanks.
Okay, our next panelist is Jared Thompson. Jared, are you still there? Let me unmute you. Okay, can you talk now, Jared?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, cool. So
Cool.
basically the same online.
Yeah. I'm Jared Thompson. I am a saxophonist and band leader for Jazz Quartet Premium Blend. I also am a band member and horn writer for the horn section of Clint Breeze and the Groove, a hip hop band. And I'm also the daytime manager of Bluebeard down in Fletcher Place, Fountain Square area. So from my experience, I noticed, but this is probably going back a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago, the gigs started drying up probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where it was a email or a phone call coming through, a text message about, this is canceled. And then with Bluebeard, the restaurant closed on Monday. So we all came in on Monday and deep cleaned everything. Amelia's, the bakery that's attached to Bluebeard, they are still functioning right now with a very limited staff, acting as kind of like a neighborhood grocery store. So all that means for me is that those are my two streams of income. So as a performer, as an artist, as a composer, arranger, someone that is out, somewhat in a leisure capacity, like when people go out to a bar, or they go out to a restaurant, or they go out to wherever, it's people like me that are performing, entertaining as background music or as the main event. Clint Breeze and the Groove, we were really looking forward to last Friday. We had a phenomenal big market, national market gig playing for the Big Ten tournament. And that dried up. I think the performance was supposed to be Friday. By Tuesday, that was a wrap. Tonight, March 20th, Netflix is airing the Self-Made series about Madam C.J. Walker. They were going to do the VIP reception with the cast, production crew of Warner Brothers and Netflix at the Walker Building. My band, Premium Blend, we were selected to play for the VIP reception. So these are some pretty prominent gigs and fun gigs, with some social leverage that we were missing out on in addition to money. As far as the restaurant, Bluebeard has 30 plus employees that have no stream of income at the moment. So it all came down pretty quickly, like day to day, things just kept happening. I mean, I think at this point, and I don't talk finances very often, but just off of my performance gigs from Premium Blend and Clint Breeze and the Groove, or private things that we were going to be doing, as of last Friday, I was already out about $1,700. And that was just for the month of March. We're going into April and May. I'm continually getting updates about cancellations, postponements, and mainly cancellations through April and May. So, I mean, it's stacking up pretty quickly. So for me, what I've been doing, been limiting my interaction, but I do still go out. So since Bluebeard is pretty much empty, there's a second story there, our event space. And I've been getting up every day like I'm going to work. I dress like I'm going to work just to get into that mind frame of focus and purpose every day as an artist. And I have been doing videos to people on my, Facebook friends. And it's nothing fancy. It's just real quick, 1:30 to 2.5 minute videos of taking my horn up there and playing a song and individually sending it to a certain person. Everyone's just really stressed out. Everyone has those moments of panic and anxiety and just needs something to get out of that mind frame. So if even for 1:30 seconds, 1:50 seconds, that they're hearing a melody, hearing a song that they like, I send it to them. I've had mothers that have kids at home that say, hey, that either homeschool or now they have to homeschool. I need something for the music portion of my kid's day. Can you play something? Yesterday I did a video playing the theme to Sesame Street, you know, so it's anything and everywhere. And some people feel the need to donate, and that's great. I also have musician friends of mine that request tunes, but they're in the same boat that I am. They cannot or may not be able to donate. So anything that's been coming in from that has been just really heartwarming to me. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing as a musician, as an artist, to stay viable and generate some kind of income this week. I go to work and I only do these videos from the time that I'm at work. So when I start my day and clock in normally at Bluebeard as a manager, and when I clock out as a manager at Bluebeard, that's the only time that I'm doing these videos. That way I don't get inundated with it and depressed or feel overwhelmed, because I have about 6 pages of requests and email addresses of people that want personalized videos. On the plus side, I've been really lax about building my email list for Premium Blend. So 2 birds with 1 stone. You know, I'm collecting all kinds of email addresses from fans or people that are interested in doing it. So I just take it day by day as far as what I'm doing. With the quarantine happening, it kind of sucks. Like, every musician is pretty much hunkering down and doing live stream videos and practicing, which the good thing is, after all this is over, every musician here in this city is going to be burning as hell, which is great. You know, like the music's going to get even better in this city after all of this. But a lot of that is, I miss making music with my peers and my colleagues. There's a Clint Breeze and the Groove. We're working on our 2nd album. We haven't officially said that the last recording date that we're doing is canceled, but I mean, we're not able to get together. So there's just little things that I do. Like, my goal right now to keep me focused and keep disparity out of the picture is that my talent allows me to give people a ray of light during the day. And so that's what my mission is right now. And if people are able to donate, that's fantastic. That helps me out. That's great. If not, I've given them something to help break up their social media timelines with this, you know, all the news that is just one bad thing after another. And so my focus is just to make some people happy with that. And I make a little bit of money off of it, but that's not the point. It's just to break some things up and just bring a little bit of hope, a little bit of cutting out the mundane that's happening right now, and easing a little bit of panic. So that's pretty much what I've been doing for the last week. This week, that's my plan. Next week, we'll see what happens. I'll come up with a plan for next week. So that's where I'm at right now.
Thank you, Jared. Just in case, I wanted to ask, is there any way to get in connection with you, like people attending this webinar, or to get in contact with you, make more requests or donations?
Yeah, for sure. My personal Facebook page is under Jared, Jared, Michael. And just send me a post with your email address on it.
If you could please post that like in the chat, if possible, that'd probably be good.
Yeah,
too.
for sure. And then the website for Premium Blend, it's premiumblendindy.com. That's also our Instagram. Our Twitter is Blend Indy. And that's the best way to do it. For Clint Breeze and the Groove, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, and they're on Twitter. So check out everyone's Bandcamp, go on iTunes, go on Spotify, go on Tidal, all of the digital platforms, and just, you know, buy local musicians' albums, whether it's a single or a full EP or LP, whatever. It's a little bit, but a little bit would help right now for everyone that's making their money as a performer right now.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Our last panelist, last entrepreneur is Lakaya Muhammad. Lakaya, if you can unmute yourself, or let me unmute for you. Can you talk, Lakaya? There you go.
Okay. Hi,
Okay.
everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So you know the routine. You can go ahead and speak if you wish.
I am Lakaya Muhammad, and I am the garden coordinator for the Keffer Institute. We have a garden off of 26th and Harding called Growing Good in the Hood. I am also the owner and operator of Earthly Clean Products. So I manufacture all natural cleaning products. So in light of everything that's going on, my business has actually skyrocketed. I've been in business for 4 years. I got started, I was a director at a daycare, and I worked about a 55-hour week. I had 2 small children at the time. And I was negligent of them because I put my job first. And so I worked a long work week. And so they kind of got the tail end of whatever I had left to give. And I knew that I did not want that life for them. So while I was preparing my exodus, I was also praying for something that I could do and offer to my community as a necessity. So out of that came Earthly Clean Products. You can follow us on Earthly Clean Products on Instagram, on Facebook, and also I have an online shop on Etsy, which is Earthly Clean Products, one word. But the views on my Etsy store have skyrocketed 1,212% since all of this happened. So I went from making about maybe 3 bottles a week and fulfilling customer needs like that to now filling about 100 or making 100 products in just 1 week. So it's been a blessing to me, and I do ship nationwide. And then of course with the quarantine, I was already a homeschooling mom. So it didn't change life for it has not yet changed life for my boys and I yet, because this has kind of been the routine. But I have had a lot of store runs, a lot more store runs, because I have to get bottles and things to fulfill my orders. And then another blessing is that the post office is still up and running, so I'm able to ship. So it's been a great blessing for me as far as that. And I would say what I would foresee in the future being a challenge is if we are on a 24-hour quarantine. As far as not being able to leave our homes, then of course I would not be able to ship orders nationwide and mail would be shut down. I think that this is an opportunity for us all to be more educated and focus on our family members that matter the most. And also just kind of disconnect, because I know that we are distracted a lot by social media, which social media is kind of heightened with sitting in the house as well. But we have a choice. We can either read a book and educate ourselves, or pass our time doing something positive. And also it's a blessing to have social media to be connected to family members and friends that you are not able to get out and see. So that's kind of my spiel. I don't have a 10-minute spiel. I know that I am thankful. And I do have my own line of antiviral cleaning products as well. And they are all natural. So you can go on Etsy or go on Facebook or go on Instagram and click the link in the bio, Earthly Clean Products, to order and get your orders in quickly. Because again, if the post office is not running, then I am not able to ship. But right now, it's been an opportunity for me, and I'm thankful.
Thank you, Lakaya. I have one question for you though. How does growing and food has an impact on the community?
That is a great question. So we were actually scheduled to start our classes. Thank you. We were actually scheduled to start our classes April 6th in the community, teaching the community how to grow from seed to harvest. That's absolutely a need right now, especially with the scarcity of the grocery stores. However, I'm kind of unaware of how we will be impacted as far as being outside with the growers. We all do, of course, stand 6 feet apart. Our plots are about 3 feet wide and 30 feet long. So I'm not sure, Russell, how it will be impacted as of right now. But I would say that growing food or having some type of garden in your backyard is absolutely a necessity right now.
Okay, thank you. Also, next question, same as the others, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, is there a website or email address they want to buy your products or learn more about growing good in the hood?
Got you. I can touch on all of that. I see a question in the right-hand corner. Yes, Shonda, I am able to meet up for product delivery in Indy. You can also still order on Etsy. Again, if you go on Etsy and type in Earthly Clean Products, one word merged together, my shop will come up. You can also follow me on Facebook at Earthly Clean Products, and you can access the website there, or you can get on Instagram, Earthly Clean Products, and click the link in the bio to access the store. With Growing Good in the Hood, again, we accepted applications, so we are still accepting applications as well, but we do have to see what laws will be put into place in order to continue the program. But again, we will be outside 6 feet apart, and our program is generally about 20 weeks. We teach the community how to grow from seed to harvest as well. And I want to make sure I touched on the other question you had. Can you repeat the other question you had, please?
Learn more about Growing Good in the Hood, where did they go to find that information?
Thank you. So you can follow us on Instagram at Growing Good in the Hood, and that's GROWIN GOODINTHEHOOD. So the G is missing from growing. And you can also go to Kepler.org and click on Growing Good in the Hood, and you can apply there as a grower. And also, of course, follow our journey on Kepler.org as well as on our Instagram page. And we will also try to upload videos for people at home who are not comfortable coming out on how to grow food in your home as well.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you. Okay, now we can move on to our funders from CICF and LISC. Rachel, are you there? Can you hear us? I mean, yeah, and Pam? Pam, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're gonna start off with Pam Ross from CICF. So if you can introduce yourself.
So I am Pam Ross. I am the Vice President of Opportunity, Equity, and Inclusion at CICF. Excuse me, I've been there for a little over 3 years. I've been in this position 2 years as of April the 1st. It's a new position that was added to the executive leadership team with the purpose of making sure that somebody every day was thinking about how we live out our new mission with an equity focus and across everything that we do at CICF. So whether it's HR, grant making, donor relations, supplier diversity, all of that is a daily aspect of conversations and collaborative strategies to move us to a place where we're an anti-racist, multicultural organization is the ultimate goal. So I'm from Indianapolis and have worked in community-based organizations all the time. So this whole essence of the conversations that are taking place as it relates to COVID-19, I've lived in that world until going into philanthropy a few years ago and know what those struggles look like. I think one of the things I keep driving right now with us is that we have an opportunity, especially with this new mission, to really pay attention to what practices are necessary to really give the community what it is that they need. So I can say that I absolutely know and that this is a privileged position. We've been working remotely ever since last Friday. We closed down our offices, and we plan on having our offices closed until April the 30th. But without a doubt, I am quickly finding that in this past week that means work harder, because the phone and this thing called Zoom have lived my life on some of these nights until like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, where is the office again? Because this is tough. But it is us trying to make sure that we are stay in tune with each other as a staff. But one of the things also in my role that I have the privilege to be a part of is our work that we're doing with community ambassadors, which are residents on the ground. And we have 6 of those. And so what they have been doing with us has been critical in helping us to figure out the things that we need to change. But right now, along with that, they are our ears to the ground, of course, with my wonderful family of KI. So I'm glad that at this point, I've had the opportunity to build relationships that matter at this time. So I'm not feeling like we're so out of sorts. But we are really digging into what is going on in the community and how do we respond to it, especially in a way that is not the typical response of funders. And so there's a couple of things that we have done, made ourselves a part of. Some of you may know that we're a part of a collaborative CSURF, which is the first C is for COVID-19. But in the past, there has been a collaborative for Community Emergency Relief Fund with Lilly Endowment, United Way, Nina Mason Pulliam Trust, Eli Lilly Foundation, and Richard Fairbanks Foundation, along with CICF. So we have put together a funding allocation resource to first respond to emergency needs. So where that's the issue around homelessness, food, childcare, things in that category are going to be a part of the first round as it relates to just what can somewhat help stabilize what's happening right now. And then in addition, there will be a first round of allocations for primarily what it is right now is community centers and ensuring that they have the capacity to do the work that we need them to do. So along with that, so that's one place that we have focused some funding. But in addition to that, we have also, which is you all will be the first to hear this, and we're still figuring it out, but we have began to deploy some funds, is what we have created called a Neighborhood Relief Fund. This would be a new fund of CICF. But we also want to make sure that while we're in a collaborative partnering with other funders, that we continue our work as it relates to making sure that we always stay very close to the ground as possible. Meaning we want to make sure that we have opportunity, to sometimes put money in people's hands. So, don't run and tell that too many places, but I mean, to that degree of saying that we want to get to a place of not doing our traditional grant making or our traditional resourcing. And that will take time, but this is not a fund that, there's many things that COVID-19 has pushed us into. I stay in this place of, especially as a funder, what lessons will we learn that will be beyond COVID-19? So, hope we need for this fund to be one that is very cognizant of the fact that we have communities that are always in need of relief. And so how are we going to utilize this fund, continue to fund it, so that we are prepared to respond to that in addition to our typical grant making. So right now, it is definitely a tough time. I really do appreciate, all of the rest of the entrepreneurs that have spoken about what it is that they're going through. We want to be responsive to that as well. So it's good for me to hear your stories, see your faces. Some of you I do know. But what we would need as far as support really is for information and for people to keep us informed. There's a lot of possible resources out there, but what I am finding out is just people, the navigation, and that's not new either. It's, one thing to say here's a resource, is another thing to say here's how you get it. That we want to be able to support that as well. So we have legit resources, but we're trying to figure out who can help to navigate people to those resources. You know, and I think in the other part of it, you know, a lot of, you know, it's about funding and resources, but it's also about power. And so one of the things that we do know at CICF is we only have so many funds, but how are we able to influence those that we feel like could provide support better? And so I think that the community can help us in knowing where that's happening as well, so that we can help to influence some better practices. So it's a lot. You know, I'm halfway sleepy. I'm glad that this is Friday. If you want to hear all transparency, like I'm kind of struggling through this little piece right here. But you know, for Imhotep and Pambana and Paulette, you know, they can probably twist my arm all the way to who knows where, and I'll do whatever they ask me to do. So that's it. Unless there's something more that you know, question, but it's kind of where we are at CICF.
Do any of the panelists have any questions? If that's yes, raise your hands, anything like that, so I can meet you. No? Okay. You know any questions, sir?
No questions. Appreciate.
Thank you, Em. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Say that again. Say it again.
Thanks everybody for coming together, moving community forward, sharing your stories. And I think through this, as difficult as it is, we'll find some light and some ways to support community, and maybe even have a more resilient community post this particular moment we find ourselves in. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Imhotep. Lastly, but not least, is Rachel McIntosh from LISC. Are you're not, okay, you're not muted, so you can speak.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello there. If I am having internet bandwidth issues, so if I shut my video off, it's because it's prompting me that I'm having an issue, so I've been shutting it off to save. But yeah, so thank you, Pam. Thank you, everyone. Like Pam, I just rose to the occasion, so I was just told I might have to say a few things, so I've been taking a few notes. You know, firstly, I want to talk a little bit about those who, you know, just as Becky said, you just laid bare what's going on. You are the creatives. You are the ones who provide the glue that hold us together. You know, we have to mobilize to support one another. You know, what I do during the day, I work for a local initiative support corporation in a national role on economic development. Like Pam said, right now we are on calls all day long. We are one of the organizations that's frequently looked to as a way to channel resources to those who might need them. I've never seen the rapid response like I'm seeing it right now. So I was in a national role during, you know, 2008, 2009, and 2010 of trying to get funds out. You know, when we look back and we've talked among our colleagues of those of us who have worked on disaster recovery, if you will, whether it be Puerto Rico with the, you know, Hurricane Maria and the recent earthquakes, or whether it's, you know, what we went through in 2010 or even 9/11, there was such a lag time because people wanted to mobilize things, but it does take time to figure out how to do that in the best channels, right? I've never seen anyone mobilize this quickly like they are right now, specifically for small businesses, right? So we're hearing from the businesses on this call about what it takes. Small businesses are self-employed, right? So there are channels to support workers. They are workers, right? And they are supporting other workers. And so it's the first time that I'm seeing grant pools, 0% loan funds come together so rapidly to support businesses in addition to nonprofits. So that's been really amazing to see in Chicago and Charlotte and Kalamazoo, Missouri, and in Michigan, and here in Indianapolis. Even the small business loan funds on the ground, both at Indy Chamber, Bankable, Build Fund, and at LISC are announcing pools as we speak that are available for bridge loans. So, you know, what can our role be? I see myself as helping to curate those resources. We need to get out the best practice, the good ideas. I mean, even today, Becky, that's the first time I heard what Square was doing. So I'm writing that down. The links that you're sharing right now here in this chat box are incredible. You know, I see our role as helping to support one another and get the information out on where to go and how to support one another. But I just want to say thank you to our creatives, our ever on this call, and we've got to figure out how to support one another.
Thank you, Rachel. Let's see, any questions for that? Do any of the panelists have any questions for Rachel? Charlie?
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. My question is specifically to the funders. I know that CICF mostly gears towards nonprofits as a part of their funding initiatives and community organizations in that way. And similar list does as well. But as a check all of the boxes small business owner, I am a Black woman, queer, come from under-resourced, but very loving and amazing, ingenuity, resilient folk. I don't see many funding options for businesses like mine, there's a lot of us. And if these zero interest loans sound really great on paper, if you're loan eligible, most of them still have the same stipulations as a bank. The only stipulations usually are that you have to be, you don't have to be in business for a certain number of years. But if you are not credit ready, or if they don't feel like your business is viable enough, where are the supports for those? And also, this is an extended question, is that if there are monies being deployed to help support small businesses, giving them as loans to take on higher debt for businesses is not the most supportive if you're already under-resourced. I'm going to speak candidly about my experience in that we run very lean as a yoga studio. Also, people think yoga studio and they think we're like making big money. We're very intentionally low cost. Our drop-in rate for one class is $10 because I believe that it's better to have it more affordable so more people can participate than exclusionary as far as our cost for one class. However, that means on paper, we're not making giant margins like some other studios and spaces, and the viability of I think Becky was talking earlier about their the difference between what you take in versus what you send out is very low. Sometimes it gets a little red too. You have to kind of float it and figure things out. But as far as funding for small businesses that are not loan eligible, how are resources being deployed for businesses and spaces like us? Because we do employ, all of our teachers are independent contractors. That's kind of a model that has been working for most yoga studios and teachers, considering that you can't teach 40 hours a week. So most of our teachers also have other jobs. They have other parts of their lives that sustain their livelihood. But I am trying my best to keep our teachers, I think we have a staff of about 10, keep everyone still at least having some kind of income as well. So sorry, long question, but where's the resources for businesses that are like that?
Do either Pam or Rachel want to answer that question?
Take a shot at it. So, working in a national capacity, I am not on the ground working on the particular resources that are coming together. I did notice that Vincent is on the call from the chamber, Catherine Esselman. They did put the link on there where the rapid response resources are being posted in real time. It is an excellent resource. I do know that, and Vincent, maybe if you would like to speak to that, or Catherine, if we could perhaps put you on the mic. I agree with you, Charlie. I mean, the one thing I also didn't say is, in addition to working for LISC, I'm also an entrepreneur. I co-own a business. It's my partner's only income. I mean, we lost 5,000 by Friday, and the numbers keep rolling in. So I definitely agree that we cannot fix a problem putting debt when there is no income to pay it, right? So I think what I didn't go into, but what we're on calls day in and day out, what cities are saying is, in addition to low cost bridge loans, because there are times we could cash flow certain types of businesses. It does depend. But again, grant funds, what kind of grant funds could go out to help with payroll, to help with lease payments, to help with income and those types of needs. Those are under discussion. I think this is the first disaster we will see those start to come about. It is real. I find that it's not just the nonprofits we're talking about the business owners. So I concur with everything you're saying, and we are rapidly trying to work on options across cities and trying to put those best practices so it can easily be replicated.
Thank you, Rachel. I believe if there's no more questions, unless Pam has anything to add.
I'm just going to add just a little bit because I'm not totally absorbed in this world, but another new thing the CICF is doing is getting into impact investments. And so that's where we're using philanthropic dollars to support business and entrepreneurs. Along with everything in that, there is a focus on marginalized and communities and people of color. So just like everything else, we are finding our way in doing that the way that it's supposed to be done. But one of the things I think that would help is but your point, Charlie, about, what a funder feels like is worthy of investment, or what rises to the occasion of what we think our priorities are. I think that needs to be explored a lot more. I know with us, but we right now are we need more businesses to be put on the table for us to vet and have conversations around. If you want to contact me, I can give, any of you more information about that. I don't have it with me right now, I guess, just not expecting the question, but you can go onto our website. The new venture is called Impact Central Indiana. And so there is a portal to be able to apply, but just, again, we're new into it. That's not making an excuse, but we need all of you to help us learn how to do it in an equitable way, not business as usual.
Give me a moment. We better add another presenter real briefly.
Telling me something.
Vincent, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I believe
Awesome.
so. If you could just introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm Vincent National Project Manager at the Indy Chamber, specifically develop Indy, where we focus on economic development for Marion County. So overall, this past week has been a whirlwind, I'm sure, for a lot of people. Unfortunately for us, small businesses make up a lot of our membership at the Chamber. And we are also a proponent of a lot of the artists and the music industry in Marion County as well. So we have came up with a rapid response forum that is live. I sent a link in the chat, basically to help small businesses and give them the resources that they need. Also with that, small businesses, we brought in IU Kelly School of Business. Small businesses are free to reach out to get expert advice from them free of charge. There are also links on that page where we're hiring, where jobs are hiring and companies that are hiring. We have listed quite a few of those as well a lot of workforce information for a lot of small businesses and how it impacts their employees as well. So what we're doing is just trying to be a resource for the community, for everybody to use, and to basically get all the answers that they need in one place, and not feeling like they're just left out alone to figure this all out by themselves. So we just want to be a resource to the community And that's pretty much all I have. But if I have any questions, definitely open to help. And I appreciate you guys letting me come on and speak.
Oh, thank you, Vincent. Now that we made it through all our panelists, we can start beginning the Q&A. Agila Nataraj is going to handle passing the appropriate questions to the appropriate panelists. So thank you.
All right. Again, thank y'all for speaking to y'all's experiences. And I've been collecting all the information and questions that y'all been sending in via the chat box or the Q&A. So I'm just going to kind of go through them just one by one. And anything, just again, anything that we don't answer in this period, we will put up and have the panelists answer and have it in a publicly accessible document. So first we'll start a question from Steve. And I think this is for the entrepreneurs, and I think specifically for Charlie. How was your customer feedback as you had moved your work online? Any customer reaction?
By and large, it's been absolutely understanding. And actually, more than anything, it's been excited because people have an opportunity to be able to connect and practice with us from all over. I've had, when we did our first Pay What You Can class, which I'm going to make those at least weekly, and I'm also investigating our current model of making different rates for accessibility. But the Pay What You Can class, the first class we had online had, I think, 43 people in it. And as I looked through the list and got messages from people, and just so you know, our studio's capacity is about 17 people on yoga mats. So I was looking through the list and saw all types of people who have practiced with us, that have moved. There was someone on a call earlier today virtually that is living in Qatar that I haven't seen since right before she left. So the response has been amazing. And I think what I've really tried to do is continue to create community. We created our own online platform for our folks or anyone else who wants to have a space to be able to talk and share about things that have to do with well-being. And when I say well-being, I don't just mean getting on a yoga mat or fitness, because I don't believe that yoga is fitness. I mean, like, what are all of the ways that we can be well, emotionally well, financially well, all of these things. Because when you're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, when you see the news, everything makes it seem like it's the end of time. And if you're already in an anxious and heightened state, that's not helpful. Excuse me. That's not helpful. And so we kind of have created a space for folks to convene and let it be kind of like an oasis, till we can have those conversations that we actually need to help heal and move forward. So I hope that answers your question. The change of platform hasn't been that big of a deal. I've also found that with elders and folks who have internet access or have people that can support them, it's been really helpful to be able to meet them at their houses and do like mindfulness practices and things that maybe they can't or they have a hard time getting up and doing. So it has, I think, leveled a lot of the accessibility things that come up with and for people for assessing yoga and mindfulness and meditation practices.
Thanks, Charlie. And if any of the other entrepreneurs would want to speak to that as they've adjusted. All right, if not, I can go to the next questions, and you guys can provide answers later on as well. Or Becky, do you want to speak?
No, I'm trying to think what directly I would be speaking to, because I was very rapt, and the dog was a nice plus there. So yeah, can you remind me what?
Just how have well, like, how has the delivery service with Duos been going, and how have people been reacting to some of the changes, and like customers specifically?
I mean, we're feeling nothing but love. It's definitely, it will make these couple of days with a couple of people, we can carry on. And we'll do it as long as we have. But people are sending us personal emails. We've had amazing, just really kind, like last night we dropped some food off to a family, and they wrote me personally and said how it changed and made such a difference to them. We're also, our catering absolutely like dropped, like zero, which is a third of our business. And people have been buying. Another cool thing they've done is get gift cards for and it's so sweet. $100 gift cards, and they're gifting it to other friends and other people that need it. So it's very moving and touching. And I also never shared any of our information, how to find us, because I'm bad that way. But we're duosindy.com, and you can find us on Facebook. I don't do Twitter. And on Instagram as well. But yeah, we just feel nothing but love, like every day.
Thank you so much. The next question was around, and this is for entrepreneurs, I think it was really important, is where do you see hope in this season and what is bringing you all joy? So we can just start with maybe Charlie.
Am I the joyful panelist today? There's lots of things. I've been really, like I said earlier, tapping into all of the wonderful ways and things that we have to be grateful for. And so, you just saw one jump up in my face. My family in general is well, even though we're sequestered and we are people. So I'm hopeful about that. I'm joyful about all of the beautiful things that I see coming from folks. Like Jared was talking about his music grams to people and playing, and I so wanted to put myself on the list, but I'm like, I know he got like 57 million of them. But I just, all of the things that are coming from this and the way that people are showing up for each other, that is what is bringing me the most joy. And that for a little bit, when people practice with us, we have a free meditation challenge that's happening that just started today, that people can have just a little bit more space. That is what, like, the reason why I do this work. And I feel like I can still connect with people in that way. And that is what kind of gives me all of the juice I need to keep going.
We'll go to Becky.
The same here. I'm generally speaking a hopeful person. So that's a good springboard, generally speaking. And many years ago, we had an old vegetarian restaurant back in the early 90s. We had it for 10 years, and we had to file bankruptcy. We owed a ton of tax debt. We lost everything. And so I think I used up all my freaked outedness after that, and all my shame. And I'm just like, I can take it to as far as it needs to go. If all went to, hell in a handbasket, I'd survive. We'd all survive. We can do it. I feel hopeful by the response to the videos we've put up and all the love, and by connecting during this time with folks that I, have been too busy to really, and even though I love them so much, and those connections they kind of feed me every day. So yeah, it's very, very wonderful, and hopeful by the actions of everyone, that your actions, your care, that feeds me. So yeah.
We'll go on to Jared.
I tend to be a pretty, I try to be a very optimistic person. let's be honest, no one is a true altruist, right? So full disclosure, like doing a lot of these like videos to my friends online was to help me. But the impact has been really nice. I mean, the comments that come back, the donations that come back have been really, really inspiring. And in this midst of time, I'm seeing other peers in the restaurant industry and in the music industry share things that they've got. I mean, like quick paying, cash apping someone money for a live stream or things like that. I don't know. Like I said, for me, like it's a day-to-day basis. I woke up this morning, it was 66 degrees. The first daffodils in our backyard started opening up. So I was like, all right, we're good today, you know? And just so Charlie Red knows, I already have your email address, so I will send you a video. But it's little things like that that just kind of like add humanity back into the world. I mean, I kind of recommend to people, if you're going to be on your phone, get on your phone for a podcast like, or a webinar like this, or get on your phone to take a class from Charlie, to get a cooking lesson from Becky, to check in with a live stream. Like turn the news off for just, even if it's just one night, for 4-5 hours, just stop checking into that kind of stuff. Like people still exist. I've seen more people jogging and walking around, and it's just like find humanity again, you know, and that's through music, that's through yoga, that is through fitness, that is through gardening. It's spring now, we're getting close to that time. So it doesn't solve any and all problems at all, but if you just need like an hour of the day to just not think about all that kind of stuff, then that's what you need to be doing, you know? So that's what I do. Like I said, I kind of had a breakdown yesterday, cried a couple of thug tears, and it was okay, you know, but today I was better, you know, and just staying focused, you know. I mean, another positive that I've seen, the Arts Council has been sent out a survey last week to see what artists need. I've been looking at some of the comments that are that are coming through just on this webinar, that it's the Central Indiana Arts Funders Arts and Culture Emergency Relief Fund. So I mean, these are things that are starting to happen, that realize that in the service industry and in the entertainment industry, there is an immediate need for it. Now, the issue as far as how to equitably distribute those funds is like step 2. But these are things that give me hope that there's a lot of resources out here to just source metrics and get a beat on what people are needing. Because of course it's finances, but it's okay, what level of finances? Is it utilities? Is it rent? Is it grocery money? You know? But today it's Friday, and that's what I'm rolling on right now. You know what I mean? So I haven't seen Charlie in probably 3 weeks. So I'm glad that we get to see each other through this. So that's where I'm at today.
Thank you, Jared. And I'll go to Lakaya to finish up, and then I'll go to one final question. And if your question has not been answered, we will answer them offline and make sure we've got links and stuff for folks.
How do I stay hopeful? There's a verse in a holy book that I read from often, and it says, after difficulty comes ease. Surely with difficulty comes ease. And so from that, I think about, you know, we never know what we're made of until we are tried in a situation, and we don't know what creativity is going to come out of this survival. And another thing that makes me hopeful is there's a leveling out going on. And there are no big I's and little U's, as everybody is trying to survive this unknown thing. And so just having more regard for the poor and oppressed people, that makes me joyful, because a lot of people that are looked over and discarded now everyone just has to survive. So I would just say keeping that in mind and knowing that we all matter, otherwise we would not be here. And that with helping each other, that's the only way that we're going to overcome whatever it is. And I love people. I'm hopeful for people. I see more love being displayed, even though we have those clips of people price gouging and stealing hand sanitizer and all of that. For the most part, in the real world, I see love and togetherness. And so I would say that a thing deemed disastrous most times produces a greater effect. So just keep the faith and just keep working together.
Thank you so much. So final question before we end is interested to see, and this is for all the panelists, how you expect fast return to normalcy after the pandemic passes, or what will you do different knowing that a disruptive COVID-19 type event can happen at any time? So what are some lessons that you've learned that can help you future and like thinking past this pandemic?
Do you want to go first, Kai?
I will. I definitely think what this teaches us is to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And when you are properly prepared, you know, that panic is not there. So the normalcy as we know it, I'm not sure that we'll go back to that, but proper preparation, definitely.
I would say that I wasn't really into our normal as it was. There were lots of reasons why that normal didn't really work out for me and a lot of folks that I love and a lot of panelists that are here. So I've never really been interested in staying there in the first place. So I have to, this is one of the reasons, and this is not a KI plug, but it totally could be, is why I'm like really into Afrofuturism, because I have to, by default, envision a world where I exist and I thrive. And so this is an opportunity for us to be able to lean into what we want to create for this world, because there is a leveling that's happening. I also think that for us, something like I said earlier, I've always wanted to have online options for people. I just haven't had the time and capacity with juggling all of the things that it takes to be an entrepreneur, whether it's wrangling people as far as teachers, supporting students, paying bills, coming up with content, doing all of our website and newsletter and all the things that go into owning and operating a business, making sure we're legal and all of that stuff, that I now have the space to do. But we wholly are going to continue making online content for people in a way that is as authentic and loving as possible, because I really think that's what is missing with what is currently out there, honestly. There's a whole bunch, every yoga teacher you ever thought you knew is live streaming on Instagram or Facebook right now. And that's cool because everyone is trying to find their own way. But I think that a lot of that is coming out of like scarcity and trying to like grasp for things and like grasp for money in some kind of way. But I really have thought about it as a beautiful way, like I shared with you earlier, to stay in community with folks. So we will continue to have online options and in-person options in the future. And that model, I think, is going to be really helpful and sustainable for us long term.
Thanks, Charlie. I think Jared had something.
You know, a lot of the way that I view things, like, okay, so one thing that COVID-19 is going to teach us is that, yes, these things can and do arise, you know, at any moment. Staying small and mobile is definitely advantageous as a entrepreneur of a small business, of a small entity. I mean, I consider Premium Blend a business. You know, Bluebeard definitely considers themselves a business. And even with this kind of quarantine kind of thing, being genuine comes across in a way that you cannot manufacture in person, and you can't manufacture that online either. You know, so it's just a check of oneself to say, okay, what are my real intentions? Am I really being the most genuine? If you don't ingratiate yourself to someone online, you don't ingratiate yourself to someone in person, and vice versa, you know? And as far as getting inventive and creative, that's why we all started our own businesses. That's why we want to work for ourselves as much as possible, it's a reminder, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, you just have to augment something on the wheel. The greatest inventive minds did not create a brand new product. They augmented something to that product. So I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I keep saying that. All I need to do is put some rims on it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how we have to think about it. Just something that's going to add a little bit of something that already exists. And as a creative person, as a creativity in wellness, a creative person in food sourcing and growing food, you know, this is a thing where if it were the middle of May, no one really would be rushing to the store if they grew their own food. So, you know, Lakaya is on to something with, you know, growing food. Like that's a skill, that's an art that has been lost in the last 4 generations, you know, and there's a need for that now, because this proves that this could be a real thing, that if you don't know how to grow your own food, you're going to be in trouble, you know? So long story short, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, just put some rims on it.
Thank you, Jared. And then we'll go to Becky, and if there's anybody else, and then we'll wrap up. Just before we go to Becky, just letting you know that there will be a survey at the end. Once you guys exit, if you can please fill that out, especially if you're an entrepreneur struggling. And we've got some questions about how the webinar went. So yeah, go ahead, Becky.
Yeah, guys, I think my hopeful place and what I've learned, or we've learned, one is fear is the mind killer. You know, it just makes everything stop. When you're locked in a realm of fear, then there's no motion. And so we're just trying to make our response to this fluid, and that's been very helpful. And by the way, we ordered seeds and we planted things. So we've got arugula coming up right now and radishes. So yeah, but you know, that's the main thing is, you know, we're gonna face more things, circumstance, such as COVID-19, as in climate change, all these things that we're going to be faced. But we have to be fluid in our response and taking action. I feel like just there's no room for not taking action, and that feels kind of good in a weird way. In all this circumstance, I feel like something has spurned us, like Jared and Charlie, all you guys, all of you, look, all of you, you've been spurned into action. We're all responding by getting on our feet and making change. So, you know, it's almost like this woke us up out of some complacency. I don't know who said it, but of course, good things, I think Lakaya said, you know, out of a lot of heavy stuff comes good. And that's, you know, out of the pain, we can be revived and change. So, yeah.
And Pam, if you have anything to add, and then we'll close out. Thanks for staying. It's a little bit past 3:30, but thank you all for staying on.
Hold on, Pam. Okay, there you go. You unmuted.
Sorry, I did say I'm sleepy. So just want all of you to know I'm very inspired by all of you. Would love to have the opportunity to support you personally. I have taken notes about how I can do that, but do stay in touch. Like I said, we do have Impact Central Indiana. It still is growing. But our main, the core value of what we do every day is to get closer to people like you all, who are embedded in the community, doing what we need to see happen and making us a better foundation. So thanks again to KI for allowing my sleepy self to be here. And, God bless all of you.
Once again, thank you for all the panelists being here today, and thank you all for joining us for this webinar. Again, this webinar is brought to you by Alchemy. Alchemy is our incubator, accelerator to support entrepreneurs to build community wealth. We are currently seeking mentors and more applicants for our incubator on our website. We'll post the links in the chat to this application in a second. But once again, thank you all. And also, as Agila mentioned, we have a survey that's going to show up after you log off. And we would like to get your feedback on the webinar, and also if you have any other type of information you want to receive. Thank you.
Thank y'all.